What's up, coaster enthusiasts? Today I'll be sharing some commentary. I make a lot of videos predicting the best coasters in the world. Some people like that, but others don't. I understand that. I personally don't always love ranking stuff I haven't ridden, but in this case I do. It's fun to make a prediction about this. Sure, that can lead you to potential disappointment, but just going in knowing that so you can try your best not to be disappointed. My opinions are changing on this all the time, so it might be different in 4 days, who knows, maybe even sooner. These are just my predictions for now. It's basically a top 15 in the world prediction, except I'm going to explain my top 10 reasoning, and the honorable mentions are brief statements. So first, here are 5 honorable mentions. Number 15 is Lek Coaster. Lek is probably the best Vekoma. The Firestorm POV that just got released is pretty much this with the launch, but slower paced. It is new, of course, but for now, Lek looks like the best, I would say. Number 14 is X2. This is a mini version of two SNS 4th dimensional coasters in Asia. However, don't let that statement fool you. It's still a monster with a 90-degree, 215-foot drop as you spin every which way. Number 13 is a coaster I've ridden. This coaster is Maverick. It's relentless, and I'd understand why some people put it over Steel Vengeance. It has some of the best ejector, inversions, laterals, a whipping 95-degree drop, and a 70-mile-an-hour launch for an insane experience. Number 12 is Skyrush. I can't wait to make this my 100th coaster. I've heard the drop feels like a car crash, the airtime feels dangerous, and the intensity is spot on. Not the longest coaster, but one that looks to do more than a ride like Intimidator 305. Number 11 is Lightning Rod. This may trigger some enthusiasts, as a lot have it as their number one, but this coaster has dropped in my rankings a tiny bit. The launch on a wooden coaster looks great, the wave turns look legendary, and the quad down looks good but overrated. It really does look awesome. So now let's start the list. Coming in at the 10th spot, we have the Voyage of Holiday World. I can only imagine Hollywood Nights. Hollywood Nights is something I plan on doing in 2021. This along with Indiana Beach, just because Indiana Beach might close again, so I would just want to be sure I have a chance to visit it before that could happen again. Not on Hollywood Nights, with trims, it still looks incredible. I've ridden 2 coasters by Gravity Group, Switchback and Ravine Flyer 2. And they both are fairly smooth, but they have a slight bumpiness to them, so I can tell what Voyage is going to be like as far as feeling goes. On the Voyage, the airtime looks different than on Ravine Flyer. On Ravine Flyer, you get 0 airtime on some of the mini hills, but the big hills you get some airtime. Not the most, but a pretty decent amount. The Voyage's airtime looks a lot better. A lot better. And the airtime on the other Gravity Groups is good, so that's scary to think about. Not to mention the duration of this thing is about an hour, 45 minutes, and 50 seconds. That's just a guess though. It seems to keep its pace throughout the entire ride too. For sure, this is a bucket list coaster that I'm dying to get on sometime very soon. At the 9th spot, we have T-Express at Everland in South Korea. This is a top bucket list coaster for me too. Pretty much all these coasters that I haven't ridden are bucket list coasters, but T-Express is unique in that way. South Korea is a pretty interesting spot for a coaster. When the general public hears saying there's any coasters in South Korea, they'll think you're lying. It's not a very popular coaster spot. But there is a very awesome looking intimate prefabricated wooden coaster called T-Express. Just watch the POV of this thing. The airtime looks dangerous, absolutely dangerous. They must have to retract this thing often because I can only imagine the stress that's been put on it. It has the 4th steepest drop on a wooden coaster, while also being the world's second tallest wooden coaster. Because apparently Lightning Rod's 206 feet, so the pacing doesn't look amazing, but it also doesn't look extremely sluggish to me. It looks to have the airtime, the laterals, and the formula of an awesome coaster. Number 8, I have Zadra. I used to have this at the number 3 spot, and then it was at number 4, but now it's at 8, and I still think it looks awesome. Top 3 RMC looking, and this is part of what makes our Energylandia so great. It's kinda short, but it has some awesome pacing. It has a 90-degree drop down 206 feet at 75 miles an hour. The floater and ejector look intense on this ride, and it's yet another coaster I'm dying to ride, but I won't most likely for a few years. At the 7th spot, I have Iron Gwazi, another one that was in my top 5. It's a little bit harder to rank this one since none of the general public have ridden it yet, but we don't even have a full POV yet. but we have off-ride shots of it, and we know the layout, so judging by that, I can say that this is going to be a very special ride. Definitely the best coaster in all of Florida, and the second best RMC. At number 6, I put Expedition G-Force. This ride looks super insane. It's like a better Millennium Force, and I love Millennium Force, so this is just going to be insanity. You go through the trees with lower but big hills that look to give great airtime, floater and ejector. I've heard it feels like you're riding a bull and it just wants to throw you off. The drop looks crazy too. It looks intense, and it's called Expedition G-Force for a reason. This without a doubt looks like the best roller coaster in Germany. Theme Park Review has said that it's the world's best coaster, and I can see why he thinks that. Some say it's overrated, but I say it looks awesome. Hopefully that's not why it's overrated. Starting the top 5 is Dinoconda. This is a bigger version and a crazier version of X2. Just watch a POV of this thing. It is insanity. It looks super intense, maybe one of the most intense rides on the entire planet. Not too many people have ridden it because it's in China, and not as many enthusiasts go to China as other countries such as Japan or the European places. But we all know that it's one of the best rides out there. This may be an unpopular opinion, but I actually really like the color scheme on Dinoconda too. Just looks great. Now let's talk about a very similar coaster. This is slightly bigger, and it looks just a little more insane. This is Egenica at number 4. I've ridden one of the tiny S&S 4D free spins, and wow, it was awesome. It felt like one of the craziest things ever, and knowing that Egenica is even more than that is insane. This is a coaster that I know will legit scare me. It looks that wild. I think pretty much any enthusiast or GP can agree with that. These S&S 4th dimensional coasters just look like something else. Now starting off the top 3 is El Toro, which I'll be riding whenever they open at Six Flags Great Adventure. This is probably the best wooden coaster on earth. I had this at number 2. I bumped it down a spot because of the duration, and I really took some time to think about the next coaster on the list. But top 3 in the world is still crazy. You've got to be special. And this looks special, and I know it is special. It's the 4th tallest wooden coaster and the 5th steepest wooden coaster. The sustained ejector, the laterals, the drop, and fairly intense looking experience is a recipe for success. At number 2, I have DC Rivals Hypercoaster. Okay, maybe the color scheme makes it look a little more appealing, but let's be real. That's not the reason this looks top 2 in the world. Sure, the color scheme is fantastic, but let's be real. This has top 5 in the world potential. Every single person on this planet and all the aliens outside should agree. I obviously think it has better than just top 5 potential. I think it's probably number 2 potential. I think it is number 2. That's just my prediction. This layout is extraordinary. The first drop looks so good. The floater hills look so good. It only looks to have one big floater hill that I've heard by some people that has ejector, so I don't know. It could all be ejector. Also, that non-inverting loop is just, it's my intro worthy. That's all I gotta say about it. And if it wasn't crazy enough, it already was probably top 10. But the back row seats are backwards. You face backwards. This was the deciding factor over El Toro. The fact that you can experience a reverse ride on this. I think more coasters should do this. Imagine El Toro backwards. Imagine Top Thrill Dragster backwards. Imagine Steel Vengeance backwards. Look, it doesn't sound real at all, but it is. Think about a backwards ride on this already. World-class coaster, and then you might change your mind. Number 1 is of course Steel Vengeance, but I haven't done a review on this. It doesn't seem like you guys like reviews, so I just don't do them that often. But let me give you a review of this thing here. And I've talked about this coaster way too much, but here goes. In the back row, the drop feels like you're getting launched right into the crowd of people below you. The top hat and outer bank are things that you don't even function because you're too busy thinking about the drop. Then after that, it's 2 very intense inversions. You get a strong pop of airtime before the brakes and into the brakes in the mid-course brake run. The mid-course brake run drop is legendary. The double down is flawless. The twisted drop is amazing. The rest of the hills are flawless. The wave turns give awesome sideways airtime, and the inversions and the structure are one of the coolest things you can ever experience. It has a 2-minute and 30-second duration, which is extremely long. It has great pacing. Even in 2019, the pacing didn't seem to slow down when I rode it. The location is great. You put that all together, and boom, you got the Mr. Krabs secret formula for the world's best coaster. So that's all. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you later.